today, and notably without an out-and-out striker to try and test the defense of Mamelodi Sundowns. But that's what Fernando Cruz has gone with as he embraces Miguel Cardoso here. And let's look at how indeed Cardoso has lined his team up. 4 changes for Sundowns. Grant Kekana was rested against TS Galaxy on Tuesday. He returns in favour of Malibonga Khoza, whilst Aubrey Madiba is in for Fawaz Basidi. Nuno Santos and Khumulimo Kekana are sacrificed, and Income Batusi Obas. It's the first league start for him since November, as well as Spilele Mkhulisi was the hero against the Rockets. Unsurprising that he gets a chance to start, but it's his first league start since January, although he's played a bit part here and there, certainly more than Obas.
Of course, yes indeed. I think for Obas it's always going to be a question of sitting. Does he have enough game time under his belt? He knows the duties that he has to do, especially in the midfield, to just give protection towards the defensive line. Grant Kekana with Johannes, the combination that has played before, but Mkhulisi back into the lineup. Him and Ayende were expecting to play those short passes in between, but expect the runs from Matthews, expect the runs from Leon and Van Beek just behind that defensive line of Kaizer Chiefs.
Moment of silence. Subtul Farapage, Michael Roinkambule, Roikishmogura Page Kaizer Chiefs, Mrs. Don Farapage in Kawe, Edum Turge, Umtulo Maskati, Yenagada Page, Isokera Jangajumala Pagos Patragum Tarugi Oskuligan Kache, Subtul Farapage in Kosiama Korama, Yenagi Ustebi, Umpogamini, Sisera Page Pansigi, M. Singer, La Page, Watungamanzi, a passway in Osi, Undavizita, Mtuno. Sitige alwetanga ge olngetanga lapha ke emsinga Lala Pumude Stebi in Kosema Togama, Umfoga Kamini, Sitijela Pumule, Jamakas Chatu, Big Gragi into Gebanja, Gura Pagi Umtulo, Gamaskanti, Sitije Abala Legeba Pumule. E poi la game che sobego la paghe Essingen Center, la Elso Suga Telecona, Pagacola Paghe Mamelodi Sundowns, now la Paghe Kaizer Chiefs, this is Essingen Center, this is Suswa Mamelodi Sundowns. Sobuna was Sobuga was 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 Sobuna was Sobuga. A Soda TV.
As Mamelodi Sundowns get us underway here, clad in their blue and white, and playing under bright sunshine. Worth mentioning again for those in parts of the country that did not have to experience the cold snap. It has been a very, very chilly week here in Gauteng and its surrounds, but couldn't have asked for better weather to stage this game.
Yeah, we're very lucky to have a great weather today. And hence also, the number of fans that bought the tickets to come and watch, because I can just imagine how unbearable it was going to be with the weather that we experienced in the past few days. But come to football, I think we're expecting a good football game, expecting Kaizer Chiefs to have more defensive solidarity, especially with the personnel that they have on the pitch, but with Mamelodi Sundowns trying to dominate the play. But will they be able to break down the defensive line that Kaizer Chiefs has?
Trying to get in behind early with Antonio van Beek. As the game wears on, we might get a better indication. It's very tight, and perhaps he's actually on there.
Very, very tight, and that's the kind of play that we're going to expect from a Mamelodi Sundowns point of view. Yes, they will keep possession, but there is a reason why Van Beek is in that position, to be able to make those runs behind Koneka, but also Matthews as well. We know him making those type of runs. Leon as well is a very mobile striker. So once they are in position of the ball, there's nobody pressing the man on the ball. From a Mamelodi Sundowns point of view, expect those runners just behind the defensive line.
Peterson to Ignacio Miguel, worked out here to Pulemo. Alive on that left-hand flank, only momentarily. Might have been a surprise for a few to see Pulemodi installed, but do need some experience, I guess, in the front three that they have that they fielded today. The two youngsters in Bartman and Pili.
And also you look at from the Kaizer Chiefs bench as well. I think from a left-hand side, he's the most experienced. We've seen him play in big games for Kaizer Chiefs. You know, whenever they're playing Mamelodi Sundowns or Pirates, he's always on the lineup. Yes, in this game you need some sort of experience and also, you know, defensive discipline, and he's the player also that can provide with that. Yes, we do have Villegas on the bench. Yes, we do have Shabalala on the bench, but from that role that Modi actually occupies, it's very, very demanding, especially knowing that most of the time Mamelodi Sundowns will actually be dominating the ball position.
Shabalala came off the bench to good effect in a midweek game against Skukuni United. One fewer day rest for Kaizer Chiefs than Mamelodi Sundowns, with the Brazilians having played on Tuesday. There's a clear foul from Munyane on Audrey Modiba. This Munyane, who over the course of his career has met Mamelodi Sundowns 7 times in the league. Just 1 win, 4 draws and 2 defeats. Elbas made sub-appearances in April in both legs of the CAF Champions League semi-final against Esperance, but in terms of the league, you have to go all the way back to November of last year in the 1-1 draw against Pirates for the last time that he started in the top flight.
And also you can tell, look at the competition, the stiff competition that he faces, with Mkwena being the person that highly reliable for Coach Cardoso in that position as well. And for him to come back, he needs to start earning that bird. We spoke about it earlier, so then, you know, how physical this game is going to be, and we just hope that the referee will be able to control.
Well, May's meeting was incredibly ill-tempered. Keanu Cupido had his collarbone broken by specifically Ndlovu. I think Jaden Adams was sent off in that game, first for the challenge that broke Dushabalala's arm, and then for a dive. I guess the boot was high and it's dangerous, didn't really make that much contact. Yeah. Off the mark now in Kaizer Chiefs colours is Luke Bartman. His first Amakosa goal coming midweek in the 2-0 win over Skukuni, the opener. Great finish as well. Really composed stuff from the young man who has produced a few standout performances in the fledgling stages of this season.
It also helps when there's a new coach in the club. Everybody starts from zero to be able to give him a chance with the pre-season as well. I'm sure Batman, we've always known that he does have quality. The chances of him breaking through last season were very difficult, so they're here being given an opportunity to start in a big game like this, and also as a false 9, a lot of responsibility is going to go to him, especially after scoring the goal that you just alluded to.
Well, this is the first league fixture in the PSL era to ever be contested for the 61st time. Sundowns, Chiefs and Pirates, the only ever present since 1996. These two meeting before any other meetings involving that trio. They hit that particular milestone first. It's been very even over the previous 60 league matches in the PSL era, as we see Kulise clatter Maboe. 21 wins for Kaizer Chiefs, 22 for Sundowns. It's pretty much as close as you can get. With no side having beaten Sundowns more often over this last 3 decades in the league. Next best, Orlando Pirates have managed 15 wins over them. Brandon Peterson claims that easily. Since he joined the club, this is only the 4th time that he's facing Mamelodi Sundowns as a Chiefs player. Missing 7 other matches against Sundowns that have taken place since he joined. Spartman receives a little isolated now. He does have some reinforcements arriving, and he gets the better of Johannes, and then it's a fairly wasteful delivery into the box.
You can see his idea, of course, was isolated, but he managed to beat his opponent on this right-hand side, left-hand side rather, and you can see that he's trying to pinpoint Munyano on the right-hand side, and these are the type of play that we're really going to expect from Kaizer Chiefs. But here you can see after finding that, he's trying to play the ball out wide to Munyano, which unfortunately couldn't get through, but there was still support in and around him when he actually dribbled past Johannes.
It's Kekana to Johannes, the latter who partnered Malibongwe Kaizer against TS Galaxy on Tuesday. Kekana played 120 minutes in that grueling match against Bulabani City in the MTN 8 the past weekend. Kekana actually came on as a sub in the meeting in May after Cupido was injured. Williams gets it out wide accurately to Mudal, Obas, Johannes. This is Allende for Matthews, giving Mthethwa the slip. Tashrik Matthews tries to roll it in for Brian Leon, well read by Inacio Miguel, but possession relinquished, and Sailor Mudal has it. Now Van Wyk works some space. Kolise's first touch is heavy, and the ball is strayed out for a goal kick.
Sundowns are trying to get into closer to the goal, where they try those combination passes. Look at the pass here for Van Wyk. With his weaker foot, be able to pinpoint this man here, Kolisi, making the run. Unfortunately, this first touch was so heavy, but they have to play between those pockets, and it's going to require Kaizer Chiefs in that midfield to be able to do a lot of shifting and covering as well, because they will try and play between those half spaces that is Sundowns.
Now Miguel Cardoso threw Kolisi on against TS Galaxy with his side trailing at about the 60-minute mark, and Kolisi scored with a couple of regulation minutes remaining, and then again in injury times turned the game on its head. Remarkable considering that over the course of the long career that he's had, never scored a brace. That shouldn't surprise many, and hadn't scored a league goal since January of 2023, and then came up with 2.
And he's more or less been regarded by the Sundowns as an organizer in terms of ball position. He hardly gets into the box, and it reminds me of Tim Bazwani earlier on, where he never really got into those goal-scoring positions. And then once you get there as a midfielder, then it really, really helps your career. You get to have that level of confidence that you need. You get to be able to lead with also assists and goals in that position.
Mamelodi Sundowns looking to go over the top there, getting away from Brian Leon. Shake of the head from Fernando de Cruz. First time he's overseeing this big fixture. These sides drew in both of their league matches, 2025-2026. It's actually the first time that Kaizer Chiefs had gone 2 games without defeats, 2 games in succession without defeat against Mamelodi Sundowns since a 4-game run spanning the 2016-17 season through into 2018-19. So they've really had a torrid time against Mamelodi Sundowns of late. If you go back 2 seasons, and they beat Sundowns 2-1 in the Nedbank Cup semi-finals at Loftus. That actually ended a run of 12 games winless against Sundowns in all competitions, a period over which they'd suffered 9 defeats. So that should tell you that they have not had a good time against the Brazilians quite a while.
And also those are type of stats that as a footballer they play some sort of a role in your mind, because whenever you play this opposition, knowing that regardless of whether they're playing home or away, they seem to find dominance against us. But that victory in the Nedbank Cup really changed things for Kaizer Chiefs.
Chiefs produced an impressive performance last time they faced Sundowns. They were away from home at Loftus. They opened the scoring through Silva midway through the first half. Brian Leon, 10 minutes into the second half, did manage an equaliser. But the draw put to an end what had been 4 straight wins at home against Kaizer Chiefs for Sundowns, as Maboe's caught offside. A period over which they had scored 9 times and conceded just once. So Chiefs had really been struggling when visiting the Brazilians. It was a good result for them. Clear offside here for Maboe.
Yeah, clear offside indeed. You can see the Chiefs are playing that high line. And as things stands, they being able to pull those offside traps very, very well, because they can sense that Mamelodi Sundowns is play over the top.
No surprise to see Sundowns holding the ball as they are. They had well over 60% of the possession in both of their league meetings last season. Ayende. Now Johannes. Picked up by Pili. Mthethwa. I think it's clear as the game has gone on that the backline for Kaizer Chiefs is not what it purported to be on the team sheets, and we did think that Kunika, who played well over 100 league games as a right back and well over 100 as a centre back over the course of his career, but never at left back, we didn't think that would be the case, and it does almost appear to be a 3 or a 5 at the back now when we get a chance to look at it in the game situation.
Yeah, and I think we spoke about it off air, so maybe they could have actually opted that with a 3, and we can see now with Muloisane, Kunika and Miguel playing as 3, but then it now requires Modi now to be the wing-back on the left-hand side, where Munyani operates on the right-hand side, so that then gives a little bit of freedom for Pili to move around in and out of that position, where we know that Maboe will be occupying a higher position.
Big problems for them at left-back at the moment as the flag stays down, but Miguel's able to recover brilliantly to take it away from Brian Leon, who almost appeared to be glancing towards the touchline and didn't control accurately enough.
Yeah, I can see it. You can tell that he thought he was in an offside position, but also from that point of view, you need to be able to control that. You can see Kunika was playing him on. His first touch let him down.
Well, that was a huge opportunity for the Colombian, who did score from the spot against TS Galaxy a few days ago. Specifically, Ndlovu not particularly pleased with the challenge on him by Ayende.
Yeah, we're expecting this type of tussles in that midfield, where each team they're going to give each other enough space and time on the ball.
Actually forward by Modi. Williams makes the call. Madiba plays today instead of Fawaz Basadin, who's completely out of the squad, although Divine Lunga will provide cover at left back, and it's an area, as we were pointing out, that could be particularly troublesome for Kaizer Chiefs at the moment. They're without Brad Cross, they're without Paseka Marco, and Ruth Frosler, who's the utility player able to play on that flank, is injured as well, and perhaps the occasion too big for Mamelodi Ngweza, the youngster from development, who had a good little cameo on debut against Skukuni, coming on for Frosler last game.
I also think from the coach, it's a good calling not to put the youngster under pressure in such a big game early on into the season. Also, when you do have players like Modi, be able to shuffle around and readjust your system a little bit. Of course, it compromises you going forward, but then defensively, playing against Mamelodi Sundowns, yes, that can sustain the Mamelodi Sundowns type of play. But yet again, continues again in a midfield where it's so congested, and this is expected when Mamelodi Sundowns are going to counter press. You're going to see those Kaizer Chiefs also in certain areas are going to counter press. You're going to see a lot of fouls winning around that midfield battle.
Pili is up and running again. And gone down all on his own. So from the free kick, Miguel with a push in the back of Johannes. Not allowed to continue.
I can tell here Miguel was onside. If it wasn't for that push, Kaizer Chiefs was in. And also, Grant, you could hear also from Coach Cardoso earlier on speaking about the need for Mamelodi Sundowns to be able to defend set pieces very well. Clearly, it's been a very challenging task for the team, and maybe that's why Grant is back into the team to know that he's very, very good at defending those type of areas. But yet again, in this set piece, we're expecting him to be able to mark Miguel.
Well, could we be set for another ill-tempered affair? The yellow card looks like it was branched in the direction of Brian Leon. Giovanni laying down the law. Can ill afford to let this game get away from him. He has to stamp his authority now. Well, for Giovanni, it looks like he's ruling that Brian Leon initiated that confrontation with the initial push. First booking of the afternoon for a man who did miss their opening match in the MTN 8 through suspension carried over from the previous campaign. And MTN 8 encounter with Polokwane City ending 3-2, a match which they had to come from behind, as they've had to in both of their matches this season, which have both won 3-2, but Mokoena injured in that one, is still not available as Brandon Peterson. Doesn't help the situation, I guess. But if he can continue to frustrate Brian Leon in that kind of manner, it'll be good for the hosts.
Of course, as a footballer and as a team, you need to know as to then which type of players they can actually, get into the nerves to just to set them off. And with Leon, a very, very important figure in that team, he needs to calm down a little bit. He needs to focus on the game, now that he's on the yellow.
Both players competing for the ball, but Munyani getting his toe on it and feeling the studs of Modiba on the top of his boot. This is the 16th time these sides meet in a league game at the FNB Stadium, as Ron Williams visits that one to Johannes. It's been very, very even over those 15 matches, 5 wins apiece, 5 draws. Although, as of late, Kaizer Chiefs at home, two Mamelodi Sundowns have not had a particularly good time of it. Winless in their last 9 league games at home against Sundowns and 11 in all competitions. The last time that they got a home victory over the Brazilians was under a man who now sits in the dugout for the opposition. That's Steve Compella, all the way back in April of 2017. Now, can he keep it in? One runs away.
17 is
a long time, and that's their only win in their last 15 home games against Sundowns in all competitions. Had a chuckle about it in the tunnel with Mr. Compella himself. Says he vividly remembers the game. Now Ndlovu down under the challenge. Free kick for Kaizer Chiefs.
Ndlovu does well there to be able to protect, because you can see he was under pressure from Khaleesi. End up getting that foul just to get out of the pressured zone. But also when he has the ball like that, you need to be having center backs just under him to be able to, create space to be able to get out of that pressing zone, because it's very, very dangerous. Once the ball has been won there, they're going straight to goals.
Nice battle materializing between two players of similar stature and similarly combative, the two of them.
Yeah.
Down. There's a hint of offside about the third goal for Mamelodi Sundowns. Now setting up Spilelum Khaleesi, but my word, he was sensational in the closing stages of that match, having run the flank tirelessly all game to then influence the match in such a way and so high up the field, so late on.
Find that composure as well from him, inside the box, to be able to bring those balls inside. Where Khaleesi also scored with those brace. Very, very important. I'm sure Kaizer Chiefs have done those match analysis. They know that he's going to come into those type of areas. So it's important for Modi to be able to keep an eye on the ball and also keep an eye on the runner.
There's Kekana. Van Beek. Udao. Just can't work it to his runner. Former Mamelodi Sundowns man, Maboe, going down. First couple of seasons at the Brazilians was as excellent as we would have expected, chipping in with a lot of goals and assists, and then, of course, injuries really did a number on him.
Yeah, they did, and at the time those injuries started, piling up, he was, I guess, moved from a striking position rather to play more as an 8, and he was so excellent in that position. I'm not surprised that he's doing so well for Kaizer Chiefs in that midfield.
Possession nicely retained here by Chiefs. Played into space for Pili, who hadn't looked across the line.
Look at Maboe, of course. Look at Pili, he was in an offside position, but maybe the better option was on Batman, who was on. But I guess maybe Lebo chose Pili because he was so closer to him. It was easy for him to be able to spot him, but they will be looking dangerous like this on the break. That is Kaizer Chiefs.
Williams to Allende. Fake. Goes to execute the little relay there, and side down by Ignacio Miguel. He's the latest to enter the referee's book, joining Brian Leo.
Great skill there from Beek. Under pressure. Unfortunately for this man, because he had to step into those lines, because you could see Koneka, you can see the other defensive line dropping.
Played in seemed to cause a few issues for players under it, just at the sun. Chiefs escaped unscathed. Body. Nicely done by Maboe. Nagalishe Pili. Able to dig out across, but completely ineffective.
But also, I think for Pili as well, he knows that Batman is one of the shortest players on the pitch. And when you get into those areas, that is Pili very skillful, very comfortable with his left foot as well. I thought once he dragged the ball to his left, maybe he'll try and force a save from Ronan Williams.
how would we categorize this role that Luke Bartman is playing? And we dip into the Barcelona dictionary from a decade and a half ago and call him a false nine today?
Yeah, you can call him a false nine because he's very mobile, but also is not a big player. He will always be more comfortable playing more. He's 8'10", so he is type of a false nine because they don't have an out-and-out striker. But if they did, with maybe Igodaro playing as a 9, it will be easy for him to play as a 10 because he has an eye for a goal, but also makes those dangerous runs, can play in and out of the pockets as well.
To the 0-0 draw in last season's corresponding fixture, there had been a first half goal in the 4 meetings between these sides that preceded it. In fact, there's been a first half goal in 5 of the last 6 meetings between these two. That 0-0 was very rare, it has to be said. Sundowns had scored in 11 games prior to that before eventually being shut out on that match day 4 meeting as Miguel meets that with his head at its highest point. The last time Sundowns actually failed to score against Chiefs was the 2019-20 season. It was also the first goalless draw in 16 league matches and in 21 games in all competitions. That should tell you how rare it is, and certainly not what we're anticipating today.
Yeah. It's a game. You can see how tactically both teams are. It maybe requires just the goal to open up a little bit. If it doesn't happen in the first half, we can expect that to happen in the second half. Especially for Mamelodi Sundowns that are here to try and get that victory. But Kaizer Chiefs also being able to know that they're very dangerous on those breaks. They still have players on the bench that can actually come into the second half and change the game for them.
On that day, just under a year ago, which was a midweek match, by the way, attended by 75,000 people, such as the excitement after the 3-game winning run that Chiefs had put together at the start of the campaign. But in that game, they restricted Sundowns to just 7 shots in total and just 2 shots on target over the course of the 90 minutes. Those 7 shots were the fewest they managed in any game this season, jointly along with the 1-1 draw with Orlando Pirates. It was quite an achievement, a defensive achievement on the part of Kaizer Chiefs.
I think also maybe this season as well they continue with that, with them scoring 5, just conceding 1. If you look at Mamelodi Sundowns and all those official games that have played, they're conceding more this lately. And we've known over the years that Mamelodi Sundowns are not a team that concede more goals.
Van Veek did brilliantly to get himself up off the ground and gather possession once again. Pili takes it out of the air. Can't locate Bartman. Now Maboe. Sterling drives it forwards. He's found Van Veek. Looking to shift it onto his right, which he's done brilliantly, but it did give the Chiefs defence an opportunity to close him down, and the effort from range is wayward. Not to see Obas, but excellent.
Yeah, Van Veek is the one that really causes Chiefs problems with his trickery. Maboe there, Mthethwa there.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, it was a great block from Kaizer Chiefs. But this man here had an opportunity to play out wide again. He decided to take that shot. They could actually really continue with that attack.
Maybe they'll be saying, of course, you do have that in your locker occasionally, but just because you're playing the Teboho Mokoena role, you don't have to do everything he does. Mokoena, he scored once for Sundowns against Chiefs, and that was in the Nedbank Cup semi-final. We actually took the lead in that game just before the half-time break. Back with Wandile Duba as well as Ashley Mthethwa, who's since departed back to Stellenbosch as Herman Williams gathers just inside his area. Speaking of Stellenbosch and Mthethwa's return, How about Kieran Twighties, the debutant last night, first debutant in PSL history to score a hat-trick in their maiden outing. A big congratulations to him.
Yeah, he's got his name under the history books.
Yeah. Remarkable to think that all the big players that have burst onto the scene in the South African top flight over the last 30 years, none of them had managed quite such a sensational introduction as Twighties. His first goal was good enough to probably have been content with his debut.
Was.
Added another couple. Mthethwa under pressure from Obas. Now cushioned forward by Maboe, a little too strong for the runners up ahead of him. Past the half-hour mark, still level here at FNB. Kaizer Chiefs looking for their first league win over Mamelodi Sundowns since April of 2021. It was a 2-away win. A game in which Gaston Serino opened the scoring, and Chiefs came back through a Musola's own goal, and Dumisani Zuma scored the winner in that one. Chiefs actually have been a little better away to Sundowns than they've been at home. As Munyane shows his frustration after not being located on the flank, and he made a good run. Now he does have the ball. He's been dispossessed by Modiba. Maboe again. The whistle has sounded. It appears as though the debutant, Tabomola Sane, has gone into the referee's book, but we'll need a clearer indication as to why. What it does mean, though, is that both centre-halves for Kaizer Chiefs are on yellow cards.
Indeed, I think it was an off of the ball incident that happened between him and Leon. I think Leon was trying to make a run there. I think there is just putting Leon
right in front of Ndlovu. This is still a problem for the Chiefs' defence. It's floated in here by Allende. A little bit of a risky one from Ndlovu to not it back into his own penalty area, but managed to clear. It's being found with frequency now, often in good space. Felice almost connects with it, but it has been retrieved here by Allende. Obas. Johannes Modiba. Disinterested in the appeals from Van Wyk.
Also, the ref was rightfully positioned there, not far from where the play is. Maybe he felt like maybe Van Wyk was taking a dive just after losing the ball.
Grand kick out. Slotting in between the two centre halves. Now Modiba from Johannes. Matthews upended. Again, the whistle doesn't sound. It's Maboe now. Two players quickly upon him. Just as soon as Kaizer Chiefs have possession, they've handed it back to their visitors again.
I guess they does well with the first initial play after bypassing that counter press that Mamelodi Sundowns has, but the second pass always lets them down and they lose position regarding that.
Miguel booked about 10 minutes ago for his foul on Van Wyk, and just a few minutes ago Malloy Sani joined him in the book, so potentially troubling for Fernando de Cruz to see both his centre halves being cautioned at this point, and neither of them are particularly well known for good disciplinary records. Modiba floats it up. Ron looked to attack it, and then Opas on the volley. First time. And that one balloons into the stands.
Yeah, that ball was inviting for Obers to try and take it on the volley. But on the left-hand side, I guess also with Matthews with 1v1, I thought he was going to just try it a little bit quicker and just put the ball in a strong foot.
Look at the depth of that team. Some of the youngsters there didn't even get a chance to look at who's around it. Saw Mthethwa and Tata Sabia in the middle of our picture. Sometimes have some serious talents coming through, as do Kaizer Chiefs at the moment. Here's Bulemoni, now Langelihle Pili. Mthethwa, Kunika, Bartman, Kunika again, slipping it through here for Pili. Going down under the challenge of Johannes. They will like the position of this free kick.
Yeah, spoke about how Pili with the Modi on the left-hand side, it gives him so much freedom to be able to maneuver around in those type of parts of the pitch. Yeah, it draws a foul from Johannes because he was just crossing over. And I'm sure with the set pieces, Kaizer Chiefs will try and benefit from those. You can see also the first set piece that they had, if it wasn't for the push from Miguel, they were in business. So then they'll be also to get into the top of areas as well. You know, pinpoint the tallest men on the pitch with Quinica, Miguel, and Mloisan as well.
From a Sundowns perspective, having conceded 3 times from set pieces in just 2 games this season, whether that will be in the back of their minds as Kaizer Chiefs put this into a good area. And Ronwen Williams equal to the effort from Inacio Miguel.
Spoke again as to then how dangerous Kaizer Chiefs looks. Like they're on side with Johannes keeping them in. That man again, Miguel, getting at the end of it as well. Spoke again as in you have Grant Kekana, who's more of, you know, the better header of the ball defensively, expecting him to be the one that goes with Miguel, who's the strongest header from the Kaizer Chiefs point of view. The second time around, Miguel gets a header inside the box.
And undoubtedly the best Kaizer Chiefs chance of this opening period. Approaching the interval now, just under 5 minutes to play. Kekana wants some movement, and he gets it from Mudau. What a release here. Kuliso Mudau rolling it across. Some desperate defending, but they do get it clear. Namkulisi collects. Lifted into space for Modiba. Chance still on here for Sundowns with plenty of men upfield.
That was a big chance for Mamelodi Sundowns. I'm sure Sailor will be very disappointed with himself with that cross.
I was going to say, prior to the cross though, did you just get the sense that maybe he didn't play it into his own stride as cleanly as he would have liked?
Yeah.
Just had to break stride a little bit. The ball was exceptional from Grant Kekana. It would want him a good 2 or 3 meters of space in behind the defense.
Exactly, and he was under pressure, that Kekana. He had no other choice but to play that, but also Sailor made it, an option for him to make that run. Short that cross again, let him down.
That's Maboe. Oh, cute front from fake. Nadal's done brilliantly to get away from Mthethwa. Flicks it through for front fake. Mamelodi takes care of the danger. Someone's looking a real threat down this right-hand flank.
They do indeed. With Maboe and Van Beek, that combination as well. Really seem to cause problems for Kaizer Chiefs.
Maybe Matthews on the opposite flank not having quite as much success against Munyane, which is why we've seen them so frequently venture down the right. Although with that said, they're trying to make inroads on the left this time around with Modiba and Ayende. Beautifully disguised pass from Kulise. Kulise whips it across. Miguel repels it. Matthews to Ayende. Those two combining once again. Ayende now switches play. Maboe. Mamelodi reacted well enough. And now Mthethwa on the charge. Has Ndlovu with him. It's a real melee right outside the Sundowns dugout.
As you can see with that cross as well, with that bounce, I don't think he had a clear view of Leon inside that box.
Mamelodi had to contort his body to make a fairly awkward clearance there, but he did enough. The Sundowns youngster left the club in 2020 to chart his own course, moved all the way to Cape Town with All Stars. He is a Tswana-born lad, so that's a fairly significant move to make a lot of the time. Players going from Gauteng to the Western Cape.
I left Gauteng and went to Limpopo for me to come back.
And from there it was KZN with Maritzburg United, and then of course the impressive stint that he's had with Stellenbosch. Although with that said, probably better the season before last than he was in 2025-2026. Do recall a couple of red cards. That's something that he'll know he needs to work on. Also gifted with a fabulous long throw ability, so a new weapon for Kaizer Chiefs this season. Now as we draw towards the interval, Tusi Obas has gone in hard here, and he's the second Sundowns player to receive a yellow card. Crunching challenge on Maboe.
Yeah, it is indeed. Now also from a type of player that he is in that midfield, he's fairly known for his aggression, and I'm sure with the yellow card it will take a lot of sting from him in regarding the aggression that he needs to put into this game.
Mamelodi Sundowns close to 70% of the ball so far in this match. At the end of 90 minutes in their May meeting, Sundowns had 65% of the possession, a game in which they actually hit the target 6 times but only managed to score with one of those shots, whereas Kaizer Chiefs scored with their solitary shot on target in that game. That's it for the first period here at the FNB Stadium. Kaizer Chiefs and Mamelodi Sundowns still deadlocked at 0-0. Both sides have gone close on occasion. Mamelodi trying perhaps